meaning of shock until you see a trained police dog defy direct orders to protect the very man it was told to attack. This isn't a fantasy. It happened. In a quiet American suburb, an elderly black veteran, a mistaken identity, an aggressive police unit, and a moment that no one could have predicted. What the K-9 did next silenced the entire neighborhood and stunned the nation. But before we dive into the full story, let us know where you're watching from. And have you ever seen an act of unexpected heroism? Drop it in the comments. Now buckle up, because this isn't just a tale of injustice. It's a story of instinct, memory, and a dog's remarkable decision to stand for what's right. James Jimmy Williams was living the life many only dream of after retirement. A 78-year-old Vietnam War veteran, he had served his country with honor, not just as a soldier, but as a U.S. Army dog handler. After the war, he worked quietly for decades, saved modestly, and bought a small home in a quiet, mostly white neighborhood just outside Montgomery, Alabama. He didn't have much family left, no wife, no children. But he had his routine: feed the birds, care for stray cats, volunteer at the VA hospital every Friday, and tend to his garden. His most prized possession? A weathered photograph of him with his old K-9, Rex, a German shepherd just like the one you're about to meet. It was a humid Wednesday afternoon. Jimmy was outside trimming his hedge and leaning heavily on his cane. A neighbor's child waved at him and he smiled back. It seemed like any other day. But someone, somewhere, decided that Jimmy, an elderly black man with something that looked like a weapon, posed a threat. That's all it took. A single call to 911. The dispatcher logged it. Suspicious elderly male, possibly armed. Minutes later, 2 squad cars rolled up, guns holstered but hands twitching. Officers got out quickly, loudly. No greeting. "Drop the weapon," one of them shouted. Jimmy froze. It's a cane," he said. But it didn't matter. Backup was called in, including the K-9 unit. Officer Reynolds arrived with K-9 Shadow, a large black and tan German shepherd. Trained, focused, deadly on command. As soon as the situation was relayed to him, Reynolds took the leash, gave the command. "Hold and alert." Shadow stared at Jimmy, tail stiff, eyes focused. But there was something else in that stare. Not aggression. Curiosity. Jimmy raised both hands and said softly, "Easy there, fella. I know you're kind." But the handler didn't wait. He gave the signal. Attack. The dog leaped forward, then stopped, sniffed the air, looked back at its handler, then, unbelievably, walked over to Jimmy and sat down. Not aggressive, not confused. Calm. And then, the unbelievable, it wagged its tail and pressed its head against Jimmy's leg. The officers were stunned. Reynolds barked again. "Engage! Engage!" But Shadow didn't move. Instead, it did something that no training manual covers. It lay down in front of Jimmy, blocking him from the police. The handler approached, furious. "What the hell is going on?" Jimmy, still calm, said something that made everyone freeze. "This dog knows who I am." Silence. Jimmy pulled out the old photograph from his shirt pocket, the one with him and Rex. The dog in the picture looked just like Shadow. "I trained dogs like him 50 years ago. He knows what's right." Shadow wasn't just trained for obedience. He had been raised at a private veteran-affiliated training facility. His first handler? A black former military dog specialist. These dogs are trained to detect threat, but also to recognize calm, authority, and familiarity. Shadow chose instinct over command, and that instinct was loyalty, not to the badge, but to the veteran. The situation quickly unraveled. Neighbors had started filming. Within hours, the footage went viral. Police dog refuses to attack elderly man. K-9 shows more humanity than officers. Jimmy was interviewed by local news. The police department scrambled for damage control. An internal investigation began. The 911 caller was identified, someone with a history of false alarms. The officers were suspended pending review. The K-9 unit was evaluated, and Shadow was given special commendation for displaying restraint and situational awareness. But the public had already chosen their hero. Jimmy was invited to speak at schools, VA events, and community gatherings. His quiet act of calm bravery and the K-9's refusal became a symbol of hope and unity. One man, one dog, a message bigger than any badge. In a world where tension runs high and judgment comes fast, it was an old man and a dog who reminded us what loyalty looks like. This wasn't about politics. This wasn't about power. It was about choosing right over orders, calm over chaos. And sometimes, the best decisions don't come from humans at all. If this story moved you, let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? Like the video, share it, and hit that bell icon for more real stories that challenge the way we see the world. This is more than news. This is truth, and you just witnessed it.